On a driving test, you're going to be judged on how you use your signals. They're going to want to make sure that you're using them where they're needed, at the correct time and correctly. When you're learning to drive, you're relying on people using their signals correctly and at the right time, especially when you're trying to get onto roundabouts. And on this video, we're going to be looking at that. If you think back to when you were a child at school playing skipping games, how many times did you get hit by the rope when you were getting the timing not quite right? Little did you know back then that it was helping you, preparing you for your timing to get onto a roundabout.
Hey, have you ever seen one of these before? It's called an indicator stick. And you can put it on that way, and you can put it on that way, and you'll never guess what happens outside the car when you do that.
And the funny thing is, we buy a car, we want everything to work on it, but even when we've got the indicators on there, the amount of vehicles that just turn off and never bother putting an indicator on. Look at all these vehicles, this van just turning off, no signal whatsoever. Look at this taxi driver turning left at a roundabout, no indicator whatsoever. How does that help people like the red car that are approaching the roundabout to pull onto the roundabout? Look at the silver car opposite, turning left with no signal, making it look like they're coming straight ahead.
In the town that you're learning to drive in, there may be certain areas, hotspots for failure on test. Your driving instructor may have actually given you a heads up on them. I'm going to show you one on this particular road where learner drivers are being told on test to follow a particular route for their independent driving, and on this particular roundabout the route that they're following is the second exit off the roundabout. It's the second exit to the left. Can you see that at the moment on this sign coming up, which is around about 10 o'clock? It's the second exit, it's the left, so it means that I stay in the left lane because I'm turning left, but I don't put my signal on the approach. I wait till I come onto the roundabout and then I signal just on top of the first exit. Otherwise, this white car here will think I'm turning into it, and that dear lady in the car will pull out in front of me.
This is the sign that I saw on the approach. The second exit towards Mersey and Leia was the direction that I took. The first exit to the left on this roundabout looks at around about 8 o'clock, and it's a little short stumpy line because it's not a main route. Second exit to the left is at around about 10, 11 o'clock, and that is a left turn second exit, and it's a long line because it's a main route. Right, third exit is at around about 1 o'clock. That's not got a main route. And right, fourth exit at around about 3 o'clock is the fourth exit to the right. And it's a long line because it's a main route. So let's go and stand on the opposite side of the roundabout and see what people are like at using their signals at this roundabout where there is a common failure on test. And I just stood here for about 5 minutes and videoed. White car, no signal to leave. The next one was correct and the van used no signal whatsoever. Next grey one that comes up put the signal on just a little bit too early. The lorry used no signal whatsoever. The blue car coming up has a right signal to say they're going around the roundabout but didn't use a signal to leave. Red car did everything correctly. Grey Mercedes didn't use a signal to leave, and the white car used no signal whatsoever. The white truck and the blue car, no signal whatsoever. And the next two vehicles didn't use a signal. The third one put it on too early and then cancelled it. And the fourth one, no signal whatsoever. The Mercedes has no signal on for turning left. The van coming round had no signal for the right turn but did signal to turn left. The red car had a signal on the approach but took it off to leave. White truck used no signal. The white Audi did everything correctly. The black car used no signal whatsoever. The grey vehicle here turns left with the signal on, which is great, and then the van uses no signal. So the white car coming up uses everything correctly, no signal to approach, but signals to leave. But watch the bus that has a signal on on the approach, which says that he's leaving on the first exit. White van has no signal to leave. The red car has no signal to leave. The black car, no signal at all. And the van had it on the approach. Makes him look like he's going to the first exit. Same with the red car there. Same with the grey one. I'm just stood here for a short period of time watching these, but for somebody like a learner trying to pull out, it's really difficult when people don't put their signals on at the right time or incorrectly. Make sure that you know what signals you're supposed to use and when. Let's just go back and have a look at that bus that we were talking about. So the bus had an indicator onto the left on the approach to the roundabout, which said that he was turning into the first exit. And the first exit to the left is very close to where that bus is approaching. People pulling out of that first exit where the bus says he's turning will find that quite a tricky roundabout to try to pull on. When a car coming out of that first exit sees that bus saying it's turning left first exit, it's going to start trying to pull onto the roundabout. Make sure that when you are looking at a gap to pull on, keep double checking all the time that you make your decision to start pulling onto the roundabout. When something like that bus does tell you incorrectly, you are ready to stop. Experienced drivers will most probably see the angle of the bus, or even if it was a car, with that indicator on the approach, and when they see that the vehicle isn't turning off on the left first exit, they spot it, and they spot it quickly. For a learner driver, it's so much harder. They're not as quick off the mark as an experienced driver. So just make sure that when you're the person driving, make sure that you put your signals on correctly and at the right time. Using your signals correctly and double checking will hopefully avoid an accident. Let's just go back to that original sign and let's talk about the signals. The first exit left turn will be the left lane on the approach and a left indicator on the approach. Left second exit will be the left-hand lane on the approach, no signal on the approach, and put the left indicator on top of the first exit to say that you're leaving at the second. Don't put the indicator onto the left too early to make it look like you're going into the first exit, but don't leave it too late that you don't help people that are trying to pull on from the second exit. Somewhere sort of that dividing bit between the bit where you go off and you come on at the first exit. So the right third exit, which is that little one that goes off at around about 1 o'clock, would be a right-hand lane on the approach, a right indicator on the approach, and then you would change your signal to the left on top of the second exit that goes off towards Mersey. Right, fourth exit, which heads to Malden, will be a right-hand lane on the approach, a right-hand indicator on the approach, and then you would change the signal to the left on top of the third exit to say that you're leaving. And if you needed to do a U-turn at the roundabout, which is a right turn fifth exit, you would put your right-hand indicator on the approach, you'd be in the right-hand lane, you'd go all the way round, and on top of the Malden turning, that's where you would change your signal to the left to leave. If you're confused about what lanes you should be using, check out our video on the channel, which is talking all about lanes. So to summarise, use your signals where they are needed, make sure you put them on correctly and at the right time. Double check constantly when you're choosing your gap to go on and while you're moving on, and use those pretty indicators to help others and to avoid accidents. I hope this video helps you understand when and where you should be using your signals. If you found this video helpful, give us a like, subscribe to check out more of our videos, and thanks for watching.